The scientific community is no stranger to tackling difficult problems. We are continually looking for answers, and this search extends all the way back to the beginning of the cosmos and all the way down to the very fabric of reality. But when it comes to the multiverse, the lines between right and wrong and between probable and unlikely blur to such an extent that it makes you question your very existence in time. This happens because the multiverse contains an infinite number of universes. Hello and welcome to Z. And today, we'll provide an answer to an astounding question. How would you know if you were stuck in a universe that was parallel to your own? Do you require answers to the major questions? Then why not subscribe to Z for more videos like this one and ring the bell for more thought-provoking information. We are about in the middle of the 21st century, which places us at a potentially significant crossroads for contemporary research between the macro and micro worlds. Work revolving around quantum physics has taken off in a huge way, but strangely enough, its greatest impact may yet be related to the multiverse, which is one of the largest structures that can possibly be conceived of. Beginning with Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation, which was a paradigm-shifting theory when it was proposed in the late 1950s, we have come to build a variety of hypotheses around the idea that this world isn't all that there is. These hypotheses revolve around the idea that there are other worlds out there. In a nutshell, the idea behind this proverb is that whenever a choice is made, reality is effectively divided into two distinct planes. This is typically demonstrated by the making of significant and obvious decisions, such as selecting an apple or an orange to eat for lunch or deciding whether to turn left or right at a crossroads. The theory goes that even if you choose to go in the left direction, there is another version of you in another universe who chooses to go in the right direction, and your lives will be completely different as a result of that single moment in time. On the other hand, the same notion can be employed to generate an infinitely more complicated mesh at the quantum level, a really never-ending multiverse of worlds. Now, the possibility for the birth of a new reality arises each time an atom divides, each time a molecule is created, and even each time light transitions between its wave and particle states. The only difference is that in this case, the distinctions between each and every one of them are so incredibly minute that we, in our macro condition, could never possibly hope to identify them. We could be talking about a world where the only difference between that world and this one is that you have one less hair on your head than you do in this one, or we could be talking about a world where the atmospheric composition of a planet that is thousands of light years away is just ever so slightly different, but everything else is the same. Both of these are extreme variations of the same concept. Importantly, this is not the endpoint that all models of the multiverse arrive at. In fact, the most of them don't even go this far. Nevertheless, the principles at work can still lead us there, and perhaps one might even argue that it is an unavoidable endpoint. To even begin to consider a reality web that is that intricately intertwined between one layer and the next is, to tell you the truth, enough to give us simple mortals a tremendous headache. But does that imply that we are in fact traveling over that network all the time, even if we are completely unconscious of it because nothing is ever genuinely noticeable? A recent video that we produced featured an in-depth discussion about the life of Lorena Garcia. To quickly review, Garcia was 41 years old in the year 2008 when she posted allegations on an online forum in Spanish about how she believed that she had awakened in a different universe than the one in which she had been born. She awoke on that fateful day in a bed set with bedding that she did not possess, which was one of the seemingly unexplainable alterations she experienced. Arriving to her place of employment only to discover that her office and position had changed, as if overnight, and learning that not only was she still seeing her ex-partner, but her until yesterday present partner was literally nowhere to be found was a rude awakening. Her office and position had changed, as if overnight. It should not come as much of a surprise that the account has never been completely validated, although it should be noted that some people have hypothesized that Garcia may have experienced something known as a reality slip. Her environment remained the same in every other respect. For instance, she did not notice any significant shifts in fundamental physics or global politics, yet she did notice that certain aspects of her own life had inexplicably changed. It is stated that Garcia herself believed that she had arrived into some type of parallel universe. If we are to take Garcia at her word, then the following is an illustration of a person who has entered a parallel universe and become aware that they have done so. However, Garcia would have had to bypass a significant number of timelines in order to make those alterations conceivable, according to multiverse models inspired by the book Many Worlds. This is the case even if the changes appear to Garcia to be noteworthy. Take into consideration the rumored promotion she received at her place of employment. How many different paths must you follow before you finally settle on one that will lead to a paying job? How many tasks still need to be finished? How many meetings still need to be held? How many deadlines still need to be met, and etc.? There are an infinite number of possible junctures in time at which she could have taken a detour, and it is reasonable to assume that she would have needed to go back through each of these in order to end up in a completely different line of work. Even the unidentified sheets she had been sleeping in when she woke up, in order to purchase bed linens, you have to go to a specific store, decide how much money you are willing to spend, choose a specific product based on your preferences about numerous other factors, and do all of this while the subatomic universe silently hums through an unending series of splits and decisions of its own, all around you. In order for Garcia to have awakened on some foreign continent, it would have been necessary for all of those moments in time to have been skipped back over. It is interesting to note that Garcia is said to have gone to the doctor in order to, among other things, determine whether or not she was under the influence of alcohol or narcotics. Even though she had undergone such a significant amount of personal growth, it seemed as though she still had some self-doubt. And, as it turned out, no chemicals were discovered in her system, but the medical professionals were also unable to discover any other explanation for the things she had experienced. Think about how you would react if you ever had the feeling that your life was different, but not in a significant way. How would you feel? If you had the impression that something wasn't quite right, but you couldn't quite put your finger on what the problem could be, what would that be? It's possible that you wouldn't be as concerned as Garcia was and end up going to the doctor, but you still might be left with an uncomfortable feeling. There are, of course, some occurrences in real life, such as déjà vu, the Mandela effect, and lucid dreaming, that are capable of inciting a response that is conceptually comparable in the minds of some individuals. These experiences are sometimes jokingly referred to as glitches in the matrix, while other times, the term glitches in the matrix is used in a more literal sense. Regardless, if there are parallel universes, as an increasing number of theories suggest they do, then how could we possibly hope to differentiate between one universe and the next, and the next, and the next? Would we believe the evidence if it were ever brought to us? Would we even be able to correctly recognize it? If some of the most outlandish interpretations are to be believed, the multiverse, assuming it does in fact exist, is extraordinarily diverse and intricate. In the brief amount of time that it will take you to see this movie, reality will have already subatomically fractured into an infinite number of distinct directions, leaving you here, in this reality, but allowing other versions of you to experience the pleasures of any one of those other realities. If in the previous 8 minutes you had shifted just one rung up or down, just one step left or right across the frame of the multiverse, could you ever fully know that it had happened? What are your thoughts? Is there anything we left out? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date on our latest content.